Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Brett McCollum, and I'm here today with Jason Seward. And today we're going to be talking about burning the ships. What does that mean? Before we get to it, guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and allow them to build the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Jason, how are you, man?
I am great. How are you, Brett?
Dude, I am excited, man. Doing great. Really cool catching up with you, getting to know you a little bit pre-show, and excited to do this, man. This is going to be a fun one.
It's funny you let in with without further ado, and I was just watching a video last night, a golf video, and somebody asked like, "What does that mean?" Without further ado, and the guy was like, "It basically means so I don't waste any more of your time." Without further ado, right?
Yeah. I know a guy, and he's a probate attorney actually, and he has a podcast, and for the longest time he would say, "Without further to do."
Yeah.
I'm like, close. Yeah, but man, before we kind of get into everything, start talking about the show, like give us a little background, give some history. Who's Jason?
Yeah.
Catch us up to speed a little bit.
All right. So I'm Jason Seward. I'm from Southeast Virginia, small town Surrey, Virginia, in the Hampton Roads area, kind of between Hampton Roads and Richmond. Been there my entire life. Born and raised here. Went away 4 years for college. Came back, and I've never left. I'm in the same place I grew up, and I am married. Been married to my wife Katie for coming up on 16 years. Let me get that right. And then I
You
have
gotta get that right.
two children, a daughter Emma, 13, and a son JJ, who is 8. And kind of my background, like I said, I grew up here where I'm at now, and went to work not long after college for an insurance company based here in Virginia. Worked for them for 17 years. All along the while, I was kind of really heavily the last 5 years of that career. I was flipping houses. I was buying, like doing the BRRRR strategy, building a rental portfolio of single family, small multifamily. And that kind of took off starting in about 2017. And along with a business partner of mine, we just really hit it hard while still having a very demanding, both of us, corporate career. And ultimately got to a point in 2022 where kind of came to a head where I had, from a time standpoint, 2 full-time jobs. I had to give both things full-time attention, and it was compromising my health, my family, everything. And the top priority for me in life is my family. So it didn't take me long to realize I had to make a decision, and I had to either hit the brakes on real estate and re-immerse myself into my career, or cut the ties and burn the ships, if you will, on my career and go all in on real estate. I chose the latter, and that was, about 2.5 years ago, and here we are. So,
Dude, that's incredible. I want to ask you this because I'm going to be selfish and ask you a question for me.
Sure.
So my wife and we have 4 kids.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
My oldest is 11, and boy, but I have an 8-year-old daughter now. I got to ask you, man, like, she's already starting to show signs of, let's just say hormones, okay? and I'm like, oh gosh, I've never done this before. What's that been like as you're going in through it? Like,
Man,
you're in the stages of it too, man.
yeah, you're catching me on a morning where those hormones were hot and heavy with my 13-year-old daughter. So she is an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and that started seeing signs around 8 or 9, but now she's
full
13.
on.
She's maturing very fast, and everything, like, it is, my wife and I laugh, but like we wait every morning, wait for her to come down the steps, and it's like, what version are we getting
Version are we gonna
today?
get
Right?
today?
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And the funny thing is, it's the mini version of my wife, right?
Oh,
So my wife
they
can
do this,
come with,
don't they?
right, yeah, and they
Uh-huh.
just go at it, and I'm just a spectator most of the time. So yeah.
No, man, I'm like, oh God, here, like, and now we have 4 of these. Oh my God, like, what are
Yeah,
we gonna
yeah.
do?
Do you have 4 girls?
No, I have 2 boys, 2 girls, but the girls
Okay.
are in the middle, boys in the end. But my 11-year-old, like, I didn't realize how emotional even boys are, right? Like,
Yeah.
golly.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
we're
mean,
just now starting to see this stuff.
right. And my 8-year-old, who is extremely hyperactive. I mean, he's just on the go constantly, a troublemaker. Like, he pokes at my daughter constantly to get her fired up, and then we're
Oh, yeah.
in the middle mediating a situation again. So,
Yeah, that is so our ages are 11, 8, 6, and 2.5.
whew,
Yeah.
yeah,
And we thought so we had 3 kids for bam bam bam. We know what we're doing. Okay? Cuz like we know what we're doing. These kids are all pretty chill. I mean they're kids. They're going to have their moments, but like we got it. Baby 4, this new guy is a different kind of kid.
animal.
Like, oh my, in
Right.
that whole, like, into everything
Yeah.
to an extreme level of kind of stuff. And it's like, we don't know anything.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's, yeah, man, I mean, that's the joy of parenting too. Is like, I know that someday we'll look back and go, man, like that was rough, but that was a lot of fun too.
I say to my wife sometimes, because that's what everybody says. You're going to miss this. You're going to look back and miss it. And there are moments where I look at her and I say, the hell I am. I am not going to miss this type of morning.
I
I'll
don't
miss
like
my
this
mornings
version
with
of
them.
you.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But yeah, not, I will miss a lot about these ages and them being a kid. But there are a lot of things that happen that I will definitely not look back on and say, God, I wish I could have that again.
Right.
So, right. But
No, man, I mean, I always like to talk, like before we're investors, before we're in business, before we're any of that, like, I mean, same with you. You're a husband and a
yeah,
father, and like I'm a husband, I'm a father, and like
that's who I am. Yep.
this is important. This is the most important thing. And so I like to talk about it a little bit,
I love
but
it.
like I
Yeah.
had to ask for me, okay, what am I getting ready to walk into? So thanks for scaring me to death. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
it's worse than you're imagining. So, yeah,
Dang it.
yeah,
No, man. All right, let's talk a little bit. So you said you came out of the insurance world. I know we talked about that pre-show a little bit. You did that for how many years was it, give or take?
17.
17 years.
Hmm.
Um, and you kind of got the bug on real estate. I mean, even way back then, like,
I've always had the bug. So yeah, I mean, right out of but share a quick story.
yeah,
Right out of college, I was renting a single wide trailer in my hometown on like a third of an acre lot. And I was renting it. My rent was like $500 a month.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And my grandmother, who had been in real estate her whole career, she was a broker, an agent, and she had always, buy real estate. You're gonna, no matter what you do, you need to dabble in real estate to some degree. That's where you're gonna build your wealth. So even at that point, I'm renting a trailer. I was making no money, but she encouraged me to go talk to the owner to see if he would sell it to me.
Wow.
And then she kind of taught me at that point. Now this is uh, 20 years ago,
Okay.
but she was it was longer than that, 22 years ago. She was educating me at that point how to try to sell the seller on seller financing it to me, right? So
Yeah.
she kind of gave me a quick education on that. I approached him, we worked out a deal, a seller finance deal, and I bought that trailer and ended up eventually moving the trailer out, building a house. I lived in it for about a year and a half and then sold that house and made a good profit. So that, from a very early age, I was intrigued and actively trying to do things in real estate. I just didn't really ramp it up until years later. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Because I imagine that transition of going from, I mean, by every metric in the book, because I mean, we talked about, the company you worked with on, and stuff. Great company, great
mhm,
organization. I've
yep,
known it well. I come out of the insurance background myself. Um, you know, you're making it. Like you've
yeah,
done, there's no, that's not a, man, I was at a dead end job and it was the
nope,
worst and I hated life. And it was like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't that for you. It's from what I gathered. Um, what was it in here that was like, uh,
yeah.
what was that?
No, so again, and I don't mind sharing the company because I love them, and
Yeah.
I burn no bridges with that company. But it's Farm Bureau. Each state has its own Farm Bureau, but I was with Virginia Farm Bureau. Absolutely, they raised me, right? I went to work for
Right.
them when I was 22, and so I was still young, immature, and I just went selling insurance products, and I just had naturally working in my hometown. I had a good bit of success over my first several years. Made more money than I ever expected to make, just because it's a sales job. It truly is unlimited earning potential. So I took advantage of that. Loved the company, loved all the sales and leadership training that I got in that company, because ultimately I eventually became a manager and had teams under me. So there was nothing I disliked about the company, but from an early age, I've always had this mindset of like, I know I have some traits in me. I don't know, it probably came from my mother or, something, but some traits in me that I just know how to deal with tough things. And
Mhm.
I've always felt like I was drawn to owning a business. Didn't necessarily know it was real estate early on, but some type of business where I can work through all the crap that comes with that. And because I don't get bothered by it and I can make it grow. I'm consistent, I'm disciplined, and all those things. So, what was pulling at me to your question was all those years was just, man, I'm not doing something that's really where my heart is. My heart
Yeah.
is growing something on my own that I own, that my name is on, that kind of thing. So that kind of pulled me. And then later in life, when I started having kids, it was like, all right, not only do I want that, but I also want the time and I guess the freedom and flexibility that can come along with it, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
a lot of time and effort goes into it, but I can kind of structure it at my own pace and pull the lever hard when I want to and dial it back when I want to. So
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You know, the, it's, we kind of talked about this a little bit. It's not you were saying like you have two full-time jobs. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, and I know a lot of people when they listen to like they hear real estate investors, they think that we're sipping Mai Tais somewhere off on an island, it doesn't. It's not without its time and effort and work, right?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
But it's your work. It's
Yeah.
your time. It's not somebody else's. And that's meaningful. So yeah, I mean, and then also like you can say, you know what, I'm not going to go on that appointment right now because my son has a game. And guess
Yep.
who gets to choose that? You do.
Yeah.
Now, that's the trade-off though, right? It's like I'm going to
Mhm.
choose this over that. And by the way, I do it every time.
Yeah.
If you make me choose between family and something else, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm choosing my family.
Right.
But you can do that. You have that freedom of choice is powerful.
Yeah, and it's interesting. So I haven't always been that way. I was, and in fact, I have a we'll talk about it in a little bit, but I have my own podcast, and we've got an episode coming out tomorrow specifically about work-life balance, right?
Mm,
And I shared a lot of stories where years ago, all that was on my mind and all that filled my calendar up was work and career stuff, right?
yeah.
And then I'd fill in the gaps with family stuff. And that's not who I am. So I was kind of living this fake life, if you want to call it that, because I was doing and filling my calendar up with the thing that I don't love the most, right? And that is my
Cool.
family and kids and wife and friends and stuff like that. So I've done a complete 180 where my wife and I sit down every Sunday and we map out the week calendar and we fill it up with all the family responsibilities and the fun stuff we want to do as a family. And then that has now leaves me with gaps to fill in with focused business work. And I'm
Right.
way more productive for my business that way
Yeah. I mean,
when
that
I
goes
have like boundaries around it, you know?
yeah, that goes back to, the idea of the 4-hour work week,
Yep.
things like that. Like you
Right.
can get it all. If you give me 8 hours to do something, it's going to take me 8 hours to do something. But you give me the same task in 4 hours, I'm going to do it in 4 hours. Like it's the
Yep.
same idea.
Yep.
What we've done, and you mentioned the word boundaries. So I think it's an entrepreneur thing. Like our mind is there. We're thinking about work. Even when I'm with my family, I'm thinking about work.
Yep.
And like the thing though for me was I always was, dude, this person calling right now. This is the money line right here. I need to answer that call. And then I justified it. This livelihood that you guys you've grown to like. This livelihood that it takes work and grit and effort. And sometimes this last year for us was hard, right?
Yeah.
So I got to work harder right now in this season. And you tell yourself this, you justify this
Yep.
stuff out. Like I'm guilty. Like I'm not saying I have it right, but we set boundaries and say no. This is what's important to us, and we're going to choose to do that anyway. And that might
Yep.
mean for some people, there's a period of this is tough right now. But like you got to ask, for us, we had to ask ourselves the important question: what is more important? And it's different for everybody. If you're choosing one, that's between you and your family, and you and Jesus, right? Like that's your choice.
Yeah.
Our conviction is I'm going to choose this first because at the end of the day, as long as I'm able to pay my bills and take care of like the base, as long as they're safe, my kids don't care about daddy worked an extra 5 hours so that we could, have a vacation.
Yep. So
Right?
I've got a very, very profound story that was profound to me in the moment, but to your point, when I was like on the fence, I knew I was ready to leave my corporate career. I knew everything was financially set up where I could do that with some risk, but I was confident I could overcome those risks. The one thing that was kind of just lingering in the back of my head, my wife has always been very supportive. she's going to say all the, like, she's just always,
Yeah.
I support you. I support you. I support you. I needed to really genuinely know that she didn't have anxiety around me leaving this job, right? Because I didn't want to do it, and then she just starts stressing out, and then we got other problems on our hand because of the stress that
Yeah.
I created. So we're laying in bed one night, and I asked her, I said, I need to hear it from you. I know you're going to say I support you with whatever, but really tell me. And she said, I'm gonna stop you because I've been like trying to get this out of her. She said, me and the kids, I'm going to say a curse word and y'all can bleep it out if you have to, but I'm going to say it verbatim. She said, me and the kids do not give a shit how much money you make. We just
Yep.
want you here. And dude, when I say it was go time, like instantly the next day I was writing my resignation letter and 2 weeks later I turned it in. That's how, it was,
Wow.
I just needed to hear that reaffirmation from her. Like, we don't care. Like, all these things are nice, but we don't care about it. We
I
just
think we
want
as
you
men
here.
put that on
Uh,
our shoulders a lot
yeah,
too, though, right? Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I do. It was recently, fairly recently, I was struggling with some stuff in our business. And I mean, I was really struggling, Jason. I'll just be honest. And I was talking to my wife, and that's bleeding into family life and home life, the stress and the
Yep.
struggle, right?
Yep.
And she looked at me, and it was worth more than anything. She looks at me and she goes, "Hey, I know this is hard over here, but if we aren't right, none of this matters."
Yeah. Yep.
Boo, right? I mean, it punched me. I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yep.
But to that end, that's a great segue. So that was the transition mark for you.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but
That was
when
it.
we let off the show talking about burning the ships, right?
Yeah.
That may as well have been the light the match moment, right? Of the ship burning.
Yeah. It definitely poured gas on it for sure.
Yeah.
'Cause like I said, I had mapped everything out. I've been working, towards this for a while, but that was the final, explosion that said, okay, I'm done. If all else, if I fall on my face with this decision that we're making, and I got to go back in 5 years and beg for a job back, or, go back to McDonald's or go to McDonald's, whatever I got to do, at least I know that she was all in and we're going to go for it. And that was
Yeah.
it. That's all it took.
And the idea of burning the ships, did you? I mean, some people do, some people don't. Like, do you know the historical significance of burning the
Yeah.
ships?
Yep.
Yeah,
Hernan Cortez. Yeah.
yeah. So I was gonna
Yep.
say, explain that for that, because like to me, that is, if I'm glad you know it, because like that to me is what a moment if you're doing that as a metaphor for your business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Talk about
Yep.
that a little bit, because I think it's
So
important.
essentially, in the 1500s, Hernan Cortez was leading his army of men, and their goal was to essentially they were going to invade an island and take it over. That was
Yep.
going to be their new home. That was their intent. So they pull up to the island with the ships and get all the men off. They get on land, and he ordered, this, as the story goes, he ordered some of his men to go burn the ships. And the idea was, we are going to take this island
There are
or
no
we're going to
options.
die trying. There is no escaping because now our
Yeah.
ships are not there. With the ships there, you naturally cannot go all in because you know that
There's a
if
safety
things
net
get
from.
hard, I can retreat. Well, there's no retreat. So that's the story. And then the mentality behind that is, essentially that, design whatever you got to do to at least make it feel that way, that there is no looking back and no plan B. That's the only way you're going to get max effort out of yourself and max focus on the path forward. So,
Yeah,
and
and I mean,
then me leaving my corporate job was my analogy or, my example of burning the ship. Now,
yeah.
sure, I have a resume. I can go back to work if I need to, but I cut it off and I'm moving forward. So,
Well, there's not another paycheck coming in, right?
correct.
Like,
That's
right,
right.
yeah. I actually similar. I had to do the same thing going in. It's like I was working for 18 months, working like almost like you said, two full-time jobs at this point, and it's the same thing. Like you can't do both things successfully because at some point you're going to burn out from it. At some point, in both then suffer. I chose this, you chose that, right?
Yep.
And I commend it, man. It's not, I mean, you needed to, like, you had wanted to do this one. You're setting the stage for it. You're doing all this thing, but you needed your wife, or some people need, like, whatever it was, you needed that one extra thing to say, all right, let's go. You
Yeah, I
know?
mean, and money, and I know a lot of people say this, but I can truly say it because I've proven it. Money is not, it's not even close to the top of the list for me as far as motivations and priorities. If it was, I wouldn't have left. I left an extremely high paying job as jobs go, a high six-figure income job. I literally burned that all up to go into this real estate that at the time was not providing that much cash flow to match what I was walking away from. I just had a vision, and I had the belief that I could grow it, rapidly, and we have through our lending company and our portfolio and stuff. But yeah, that's proof. I didn't The money was not the driving factor. If it was, I would have stayed in that job. I would have kept
Right.
advancing in that career and been happy doing it. But I needed something else internally and for my family. So,
Yeah.
yep.
And that, I just thought it was really cool. And we talked about, like, the burning the ships and
Hmm.
what that actually looks like in practical real life,
Yeah,
It's scary though,
it
like,
is. Yeah,
because you're making a decision that put up, I'm all in, chips are all in, and I'm betting on me. I'm holding the hand and the cards say me,
yep.
and I'm going to lay that on the table. And life, as the in the proverbial sense here, let's see what the deck of cards holds, right?
Yeah,
And you're betting on you the whole time. That's
yeah,
that's a so I played baseball my whole life, played,
yeah.
through college, played post college a little while, and then I've always been the smallest guy in every field I
Hmm.
ever played. I'm not a big dude.
Right.
And I always said this one thing. I was like, in between the lines, I was a pitcher, when I'm throwing the ball, I'm playing against Jason. I'm better than you.
Right.
This is in my head, and you're not gonna beat me. But if you do, I'll tip my hat to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that's the mentality, and you have to, for the entrepreneurial spirit. It's not out of arrogance, but it's out of a confidence of, I'm holding the cards and I'm betting on me.
Yeah.
Burn these ships, and if you're not going to beat me, life, because it's going to try. I'm sure you guys have had roadblocks.
Yeah.
You've had
Sure.
stumbling blocks. You've had things that tried to come at you, but you're not going to beat me.
No, man. I have the same mentality. I think that's why I've had some level of success in real estate because around every corner is another freaking roadblock.
Yeah,
Around every corner is another piece of adversity. And in a twisted way, man, I look forward to it because like for me, my entire life going back to childhood, I always need a puzzle to solve, right?
mm,
If things are put together and perfect, I get bored very quickly. I like the challenge of trying to solve complex puzzles. And so much so that my business partner jokes with me, but I'll create a complex puzzle when it doesn't need to be created just because I want to exercise that thing I like to do. But I think just having that natural in me, I can't tell you where it came from. I've just always been like that. It gives me the confidence to step in between the lines and say,
yep,
I'm going to win. But if I don't, good job. I'm going to try to do better next time. And if I
yeah.
20 times in a row I don't win, let's pick it up. Let's go number 21,
But you're not going to beat me, right? Like,
Right, right, right.
like,
Yeah. Yeah,
like, that's
exactly.
also, but also
Right.
you're not going to do it. Yeah, it's just it's a confidence that we carry. But man, that's been really cool. I want to ask you this too, though. So you kind of talked and touched on it briefly there. But tell me today, what does 2025 look like? What are you guys working on?
Yep. So
What
we
is, yeah,
Yeah, we have in our real estate portfolio, again, I've got or two business partners, but we have I think we're at about 120 units, a little bit less maybe. We've sold a few recently, but and those are mostly single family, small multifamily. Then I'm heavily invested in various syndications around the country. We talked a little bit about that. As a limited partner, I have no operational responsibility in those deals, so I'm just an investor with a little bit of equity. And then my primary focus day to day, all our real estate portfolio is largely passive. We have property managers where we step in as needed, but we're not very involved with that anymore. And our day to day is a lending company, 608B Capital. The name confusing to a lot of people. A lot of people think it's some kind of IRS code or something like
Yeah.
that. 608B was mine and my business partner's apartment number in college.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's why we named the company that. And we are a real estate debt fund. We raise capital from investors, accredited investors, and then we deploy that capital into hard money loans to fix and flippers and people buying and holding. Will be the bridge loan to get them to where they can refinance. And we have been in business I've been lending far longer than this, but under this business and brand, been in business about a year and a half. We have about 10 million in capital that we've raised from investors. And our typical loan is a 6-month fix and flip loan. So we try to cycle that capital twice in a year. And that is our basically daily baby. We got to raise it. We're growing it. We're scaling it. That's what we're doing. So,
That's incredible.
yep.
Yeah, and that's obviously, a new challenge. You're
Yeah,
talking about challenges and puzzles, right?
sure.
Because now it's so let me ask you this question. It's a leading question. I think I know the answer. Have you ever flipped a house, Jason? Yes, right.
Yep.
Have you ever used somebody else's money when you flipped a house?
Yes.
Right? And you have a clock on that, don't you?
Yep.
Right? And it's on you to make sure that renovation goes right so that you can get that person's money back in return. Also,
Correct.
correct? Yeah. What does it feel like when you're not the one that's in control of flipping the house, but you've raised money from somebody that you're hoping to produce a return on for them? And
Yep.
what does that responsibility feel like?
I told you I like complex puzzles. So, essentially we have two customers. We have our investor
Yep.
that we're trying to sell on this investment to bring capital to us so they can earn a return. That's complex. Then now I'm lending out their capital, not Jason's capital. I'm lending out their capital. Now the way we operate, we pool it. So no investor is tied to one particular deal. They're spread out over all of our deals, but we've got to have extra layers of risk mitigation that we apply because we're dealing with other people's capital. And that's where it gets complex because there's loans that we probably make with our own capital because we're less risk averse, but we've got to think through the lens of what our investors are expecting us to do with their capital. So we have to be very buttoned up in that. And what that looks like as far as from an underwriting standpoint, we just simply use this as our primary metric. Would we buy this property if it was presented to us with this purchase price, this rehab budget, this ARV? And if the answer is yes, then most likely we're going to lend on it. Because worst case scenario, remember, I'm protecting investors' capital. So worst case scenario, they don't perform, they default, and we have to take that property over. Well, we would have bought it in the first place. So we're still protecting the asset that is ultimately protecting the investor's capital. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It's just a unique, a different perspective of I don't get to, but ultimately you do get control.
Yeah, I mean, we control it in the sense that we have to approve budgets. We have to approve work done before we release draw money. They want their draw money, so they got to make sure they're doing it to our standards to get that. So we design it where we do have, now we're not on the job site every day. We're not micromanaging every step, but we keep a pretty good finger on the pulse of what's going on every deal we lend on.
And it must feel pretty decent to, I don't have to deal with moving walls and doing this and managing crews and all the that comes with it, right?
Yeah, but like I said, complex puzzles, we still
sure.
dabble in that as well, flipping houses and stuff like that, which, I tell myself every day, I'm not going to flip another house. I'm done with that. And then the next day, another deal comes up. Like, all right, let me do one more,
Yep, that's how it goes.
Right.
Well, man, Jason, this has been really good, man, getting to know you, catching up, like that sort of thing. If people do want to reach out and connect with you, follow you, I mean, I know you've got your show. Tell us a little bit how to follow you. Tell us a little bit about the podcast, that sort of thing.
Yep. So I'm on myself personally on social media, Facebook, Instagram. It's just Jason Seward. So you can find me there. Our business is 608B Capital. It's 608, B as in boy, Capital. We're on all the social medias. And our website is that.com. So 608bcapital.com. I don't know if y'all put anything in the show notes or anything.
Notes,
yeah. And then, Burning the Ships is our podcast. We interview folks. We got 2 episodes a week. One's a weekly ramble with me talking on various topics, and the other one is interview. And we're about 140 or so episodes deep. So a lot
Nice.
of good content there to get to know us a little bit better if you're interested. So
Guys, and if you do it, there's just like, if there's a lesson out of today, besides all the good stuff we just talked about, it's follow Jason, go to the podcast. I mean, if you got something I was talking today, I'm like, I can't imagine how valuable listening, you got 140 episodes of this, so check it out. Like and subscribe, right?
Yeah,
And subscribe.
I don't want to plug anything, but I've got to, because from a timing standpoint, I want to share this, but our episode coming out this Sunday, I don't know when this will come out, so this might come out after, but go look. We've got Dano from Dano's Seasoning coming on the podcast. Cool. He is a very popular social media influencer, but he's got a hell of a company he's running too with his seasoning and stuff. I think he's got like 20 million followers on social media.
Incredible.
But he sat down, did a fantastic interview with us. He jumps into like building a business from scratch into what it is now and stuff like that. So check that one out.
No, guy, that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, seriously, guys, it's a no-brainer, right? Like and subscribe, follow Jason, follow the podcast, Burning the Ships. But man, Jason, this has been great, man. I really appreciate you being on here with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Brett.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in to us. Like we said earlier, like, subscribe, you know how to do the whole thing. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.